The great thing about Google is I tell people, look at my reviews. They're real. They're not my Aunt Mary leaving a review. They're people. And I asked them, write about your kid, what I did for your kid. Write about yourself. Healing begins with a smile, which is what I tell all of my patients. And I cry with some of my patients. I do get emotional with my patients. I'm very open with them, especially teenagers, because at 19, I wasn't long for this world. And here I am, 55, and I'm helping these kids, and it's powerful.
Welcome, everybody, back to Real Brain Talk with Dr. Guy and Dr. Ken, owners of BrainCore Neurofeedback, BrainCore Systems. We have a really fun guest today, hailing from my home state of New York. We've got our colleague, our friend, Dr. Willam McKenna. Hey, Will.
Hello, Ken. Hello, Guy.
Hey, Will. How's it going, buddy?
Good, good.
Glad to hear that.
So glad you're here with us today, man.
You know what? I got the email, and I've been with you pretty much from the start, so I wanted
you have. Yeah.
To get on here.
He's an old timer.
Yeah.
He's an old timer.
Yeah. You can dig up.
And that might be a good place. Might be a good place for us to start, Ken. Maybe, Will, maybe you give us a little background as to how you got into this and why you're doing it.
An old friend of mine, Jeff, said, "Hey, remember Dr. Guy? Dr. Guy is, doing this stuff, brain core therapy, blah, blah, blah." And I took a look into it because a few years earlier, I had suffered from panic attacks out of nowhere. I just say it's an Irish Catholic mother. And I did immersion therapy. I did some alpha wave therapy where they put clips on my ears and stimulated alpha waves. And it helped. I didn't fly for a couple of years. And so when I started it with you, I went down to the seminar. I think I was literally one of the first 15 or 20 doctors to get in.
Well,
yeah,
when did you start, Will? Because I also, Jeff was my
2010.
BrainCore as well.
Yeah, 2010.
It was the first year.
Yeah, we might have been in the same
Yeah,
class.
possibly. And that's when it was very primitive. It was, if the measurement on the map was above this or below that number, then this is what you did. And it was like SMR up, and it was very basic at the time compared to how it is now. But the results I got on some people back then were absolutely amazing. I had one woman, Mayo Clinic studies of migraines. We had the same medical doctor. She's one of my first patients. Said, "Go see my friend Will. He's a little crazy, but he'll help you." And that woman, 15 years later, is migraine free. She's retired. If I post anything on Facebook, she doesn't mind me saying her name, you'll see Maria Cabuzzi. It says, "It works. Just do it." Something along the lines of that. And there was another guy that was a stroke victim, died on the table 3 times. And he would come into my office, and you could see he had a stroke. And he asked me if I could help. And me, if Dr. Guy says I can. So we worked on him. And one day, and it's a great story, he comes in and he's holding a ticket. And I said, "What's that for?" He goes, "I got caught for talking on my cell phone while I was driving." And he was happy, and I didn't understand it. He goes, "Will, I talk with the cell phone in my right hand. I still wasn't getting it." He goes, "I was driving with my left. I haven't done that in 3 years." And that's when, it's simple stuff that I was like, this is pretty cool. And then, I just kept doing it down in my Pelham office. I bought a house upstate. Someone saw a Facebook post about ADHD, asked me if I could help them, and I got one of the home units, and I started doing it out of my basement. And very quickly it became busy, so I had to get a full system. And that was the best part, is I'm doing it in my house Tuesdays and Thursdays, the middle of the summer. I'm in shorts and a tank top. Nobody cared because I was getting rid of teenage social anxiety, insomnia, depression. And then December of 2020, in the middle of COVID, I knew what this world was going to turn to, and I opened up a second office. I started with one system. Within 2 months, I had to get a second system, and now I have 3. And I'm busy, and the results, I mean, you get that every once in a while, you get that case, but that's when I'm usually calling you guys. But the results have been fantastic, and that's not even me BSing. Like the email said, pick 2 of your favorite cases, and it's so hard because I already spoke about 2, and that was for 15 years.
It doesn't have to just be 2.
You're not limited to 2.
No, it's just there's so many, and Now I get referrals from pediatricians, psychologists, school psychologists. I'm working with a child psychiatrist, adult son, because of the work I did with a couple of special needs patients. I think it's amazing, and you make a difference, and it's fun. It's easy, so to speak, as compared to adjusting a bunch of people a day. My hands hurt. This is nice and simple, and I love the results.
Yeah.
You should tell everyone that Will's a chiropractor.
I was just going to say, we
I'm a
should say that you're a
chiropractor. Sorry about
chiropractor.
that.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, so why don't you tell everybody, what it's like to incorporate BrainCore in a chiropractic practice? Because that's what I've done. That's what you've done. Not everybody does it that way, but it's an interesting,
It is. There have in 15 years a couple people looking at me. You're a chiropractor. I'm not a quote medical doctor, so to speak. But then when I start doing a consult and I go over my own map, because I've done this on myself. And once I start explaining it to them, how the brain works, how this system works, then their eyes are a little more open. And I explain to them the brain and the spinal cord are your central nervous system. That's what I work with all day long. So it only makes sense that if I can help your brain along with your spine, I'm the guy to do it, as opposed to medication. And I now, with the great thing about Google is I tell people, look at my reviews. They're real. They're not my Aunt Mary leaving a review. They're people. And I asked them, write about your kid, what I did for your kid. Write about yourself. And that's what kind of gets them in here, is the reviews at this point, because they see the work that I've been doing here. So it is fun. Like I said, now with the referrals from doctors, I'm golden. I'm happy. And again, the amount of people that I have helped over the years is incredible. And I still get phone calls from people. I still get text messages. Hey, let you know I'm doing this. And that's the rewarding part of this.
Mm-hmm.
So I know at some point you were also doing cigarette cessation,
laser smoking
right?
cessation. Yes,
Yeah, and didn't you incorporate BrainCore with that?
I did on my harder cases.
Mm-hmm.
Now the problem with smokers, they got no problem spending $800 a month on cigarettes, but to get them to spend money on anything else. So I have incorporated it a few times, and it definitely has helped people.
Mm-hmm.
So without a doubt, I did incorporate it in the beginning with weight loss. People that were doing emotional eating, anxiety stuff, or depressive eating, and we got some results with that. But my big thing is ADHD, anxiety.
You have a lot of kids in your clinic?
Yeah, the one up here, I mean, I have a lot of adults, but I have a lot of kids up here. Anywhere from, I think my youngest right now is 7, up to 18, 20, 21. My oldest patient right now, I'm going to see tonight at a Yankee Stadium reunion. He is 82. I'm going to Arthur Avenue.
Where's the reunion?
Mario's restaurant. I'm friends with the owner, so I'm excited. I'm excited.
Good.
But
so you have two offices.
Two offices.
You have one up in upstate,
and then one in Lower Westchester, Pelham. That's my original.
Lower Westchester. And are you doing home training too?
No, that I was. I did do some home training. I do have a system, but I don't have a reason why I don't do it. I enjoy getting them in here.
Yeah,
and I've done it on a
lot of people like the hands-on.
Yeah, other people, like I've offered it to them. Like, nah, I want you to do it, and I have no problem with that. So I'm okay with that.
I'd want to come to see you twice a week too, just to hang out with you.
I know.
Oh, we have. I wish I could lift the computer up and show you my office here. I got a big fish tank. I got murals on the wall. We got music playing, anything from yacht rock radio to 80s pop. We have a wall here. We laugh. There's never a white.
There's something to be said about the environment you create as being a healing environment. It sounds like you have a pretty healing environment there.
Healing begins with a smile, which is what I tell all of my patients, because I have to apologize a lot of times because I'm not, me a long time. I'm not very serious. I joke around. And whether it's the brain core or chiropractic, like I have an 82-year-old woman. She's like, Dr. Will, why is my back always killing me? And I say, you're 105 years old. What do you want from me? And they love it. They just love that attitude, and we laugh. And but I'm also, I have, as recent as last week, going over a map with a depressed kid and his mother. Like, I'm telling them my story about where I was as a teenager and where I was headed. And I cry with some of my patients. And I got to cry now because I got a letter here that I'm going to read to you guys. I don't know if I'm going to get through it, from a patient. And, but I do get emotional with my patients. I'm very open with them, especially teenagers, because at 19, I wasn't long for this world.
Yeah.
And here I am, 55, and I'm helping these kids, and it's powerful. There's a reason that the good Lord kept me around. And I really believe it. This is, one of the tools He gave me is to, because the teenagers now, I mean, you guys see it down there, and I'm sure Ken in New York. They're so anxious, they're depressed, and it's all this social media, and there's a lot of pressure. And after COVID, how many kids I have treated that couldn't go back to school? And I have at least a dozen that I got back into school because of this, because of what you guys do. And that's great. I got a phone call the other day. Dr. Will, just want you to know that Skylar went to school, stayed all day, even ate lunch, didn't get nauseous, like from anxiety. And I just wanted you to know that. Like, that's awesome.
It's
man, what a rewarding
amazing
life, man. You have such a rewarding life.
It really is. It's, and I mean that. And I'm so glad that I got into this. I mean, chiropractic's rewarding. We help people get them out of pain. But when I have somebody's kid in here that's ready to kill themselves, and now I know they've graduated from college, they have a job with Con Edison. I can go on and on about these stories.
Yeah.
That's why there's so many.
Changing lives, man. Just changing so many lives.
It really is awesome. It really is. And, I do maps on myself from time to time. I shared with you a few years ago, all of a sudden I couldn't fly again. What happened?
Yep.
I remember that. Yeah.
But
brain's a wild organ.
It is.
You never know what it's going to do.
And I think it's really worth emphasizing the chiropractic connection, just because I entered from the same place as you did, and just in a philosophical standpoint, it makes sense to the chiropractic philosophy to work on somebody's brain in a learning modality where you're actually just teaching them to regulate better. We're getting that nervous system functioning better, and when that happens, right, good things happen throughout every aspect of their lives, and it affects them, it affects their families, and it's just a really good connection. I think it, like you were saying, it's not really intuitive to think chiropractic and neurofeedback, but they really mesh really well.
Well, there's I know you guys are going to get on me because I'm going to give you like the physiology behind that. Let's do the science behind that. So, all right, here we go. You ready? So when you have a subluxation of the spine, right, you are releasing higher levels of cortisol into your body. It's been proven. Dr. Seaman did all the work. We know that high levels of cortisol get released when you have a subluxation in the spine. Sustained cortisol levels, when they're high, will actually have an effect on the brain. And it's been shown that when your cortisol levels are high for a long period of time, your prefrontal cortex is actually smaller than an individual who doesn't have high levels of cortisol. Your hippocampus actually shrinks. So the chiropractic philosophy of a subluxation affecting the body, yes, it affects the body, but it also affects the brain. And you can adjust the subluxation all day long, but you need to still address what's going on in the brain. And that's the physiology behind it. And that's why it fits perfectly with chiropractic.
So I had an intern this summer. I got an email from a girl at Bedford Hills High School asking if she could do an internship. And great girl. And she had written a paper on post-concussion syndrome. She was a soccer player. and suffered from a couple concussions. And she was headed to Princeton. She wants to go into neuroscience. And she sent out like 25 emails, and I'm the only person that answered her. And it was so much fun having her because I got my nerd on. I'm sitting there and I got into maps like Ken, when I would do a map with you, go over a map, looking at it. I started really getting into it because everything becomes routine. You look, this is what it is, these are the protocols, and I trust the system. This forced me to really get back into it. And it was great showing it to her because, again, I could get my nerd on. And I'd be like, all right, what are we going to find? Post-concussion syndrome. She's like, high posterior delta. Like, she was just rattling stuff off. And, like, it was great. What's low? What can low theta cause? Oh, it can cause anxiety. Like, and it was great. Like, and it's funny because she was so into it. I let her, some of my patients, let her sit there and do mapping on her. I'm watching and she's doing everything. She helped with a few of the setups and she was so into it. And she was with me for 10 weeks. And I was like, did you ever get bored? She's like, no. She goes, I love this stuff. And we finished off the last day. I brought her to Johnny's Pizza in Mount Vernon. So she was a happy girl.
Oh, right.
Nice.
Hey, Will, I want to ask you a quick question, though. So before we went on air, you had mentioned something about you're doing some studies now looking at the effect of different cannabinoids on the brain. And for those of you who don't know what a cannabinoid is, it's like you've heard of CBD and CBG, and THC is a cannabinoid as well. And we're seeing it, all over the place now. You could buy the Delta 8s and Delta 9s and in gas stations, and they're psychoactive, the deltas. I'm really curious to know what you've been finding in these studies that you've been doing with the brain maps and the effect that these cannabinoids have.
Okay, so the very first person, first off, I'm doing this with a buddy of mine, Mike. Mike has a dispensary. Literally, I live 3 miles down the road. Mike's about a mile and a half. So he's in the middle of my office and my house. And an old buddy introduced me because Mike's mom had done brain mapping down in Florida in a rehab center. And what they were using was things like CBD, CBG, and CBA with people trying to beat addiction. And she was doing some mapping back then, so he approached me, would I be interested? And I said, yes. So we're at the preliminary stages, but one of the first people we did was on my wife. My wife's high anxiety, but she'll never come in here because I'm her husband. So why would she let me treat her?
Yeah.
But we did a map on her, and her beta arousal's through the roof. And I had her go out, and she smoked a little, but there was no THC. There was a joint essentially with CBD, CBG, and CBA. All of a sudden, there's a smile on her face. She's all relaxed. She wouldn't shut up. And I do another map. And when I tell you the beta arousal went from like a 9 to a 4. And then I did I did the brain core, the brain map comparison, and it was like 37% improvement. Now, we know it's temporary at that point, but what we're now doing is going to create some tinctures for, especially in the beginning, for my high anxiety patients, before everything kicks in, maybe a little tincture to help get them through the day. Using CBN myself for sleep. I have a gentleman with insomnia, and we've weaned him off of Xanax. He's a lot better with his sleep, but now I have him trying some CBN before bed, and it's doing the trick. So nutritionally, we always are adding vitamins. We're adding certain things to treatment. Cannabinoids, I finally said it correctly because I never do. There is so much research on it going on, and I want to be part of it, because if we could add it as an adjunct to what we're doing, we could help a lot more people. I take CBT, and my focus is better.
Yeah.
So there are different things, and that's what we're working on. Eventually, once we get a little more data with it, I'm going to definitely come to you guys. But now we're in very preliminary stages, and it's funny. my buddy Mike used to be a pastry chef down in Hilton Head, and now he makes edibles and gummies and all sorts of wonderful things. And he's
not in Hilton Head because it's
no. Well, that's why he's up here.
And
he makes tinctures for kids with autism.
You know, a lot of people don't. I'm sorry to interrupt, but a lot of people don't realize that there's literally thousands of cannabinoids in a marijuana plant or a hemp plant.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that. You know, they always hear CBD, but because I heard you saying CBN and CBT or CBG.
I'm unfamiliar with any of that.
Yeah. So there's literally thousands of cannabinoids. Now, some of them are psychoactive. THC is a psychoactive cannabinoid, right?
Tetrahydra. Right?
Yeah. That's what, the old days when you smoked a joint, that's what you got high off of, THC. Yes. And then the deltas that you're hearing about now that they sell in gas stations, they are also psychoactive. Yes. And a lot of people don't know, like, well, where did deltas come from? Deltas are actually a natural cannabinoid. They are a natural cannabinoid,
but they're synthetic. I thought I was on the impression.
No, they're not. Listen to this though. They're a natural cannabinoid, and they occur in such minute quantities in the plant that you don't get the psychoactive effect of the delta. That was until 5 years ago when they genetically modified the plants to produce more deltas. And since deltas are not illegal like THC is in some states, they could sell the deltas right over the counter because they're not illegal, even though they're psychoactive. And they're not synthetic. They're really made in the plant. But what happens is that it was a normal plant. There was a small quantity of deltas. But what they did when they genetically modified it, they created this new plant that made more of the deltas. So now it's a billion-dollar industry, right? Oh, wow. I mean, you can't go into a gas station without seeing Delta 8s, Delta 9s,
Those we don't see in New York. I never see those.
Yeah, no, I wish my buddy Mike was here because he'd get his nerd on right this. But THCV gives you energy. It's like a pre-workout. It's fantastic. Yeah. So I'm learning so much with this guy. And every time he comes in, he's like, all right, I made you this, I made you that. Because he's really excited about what we're trying to do. We actually spoke with the head of neurology at Mount Sinai about possibly doing something. She wasn't quite interested in what we were doing, but just the fact that we got in a Zoom call with this woman, that we're trying to do stuff, that she was interested. Problem with that is we thought it was just hey, how's it going? This is what we're doing. She's looking for us to give us this proposal of what we're looking to do. But we learned, And,
listen, if you ever need someone to help you with that, I would love to be involved in that.
Absolutely. Well, I will talk to Mike.
I'm fascinated by all the cannabinoids, but I'm also fascinated by, and we had Ken, remember we had a guest on, Dana Gurley, and we talked about the effect of psychedelics, ketamine and
mushrooms.
What is it? Mushrooms, psilocybin, ayahuasca. I always confuse ayahuasca and ashwagandha. I don't know why.
Totally different.
Ayahuasca. I think of Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly. But we discussed with Dana how they're doing these studies now where they're keeping people, like, the ayahuasca psychedelic experience is only 10 or 15 minutes, but now they're using IVs and they're keeping them on them longer, and the people are having shared experiences, even though they don't know each other. Like, the experience is the same. They see, I know it sounds strange, they see aliens, they see all this, like Jim this Morrison. Wild stuff. Yeah, Jim Morrison walking by. But yeah, that, it's just fascinating because the brain is so amazing, and then you introduce these other things that can affect the brain, and it's wild to see the effect.
Every morning I take, it's called Happy Days. It's CBD, CBG, CBA. And I take one, and it's just, it doesn't get you high.
Yep.
You start your day off right. You're in a good mood. And at night I take Sweet Dreams. It's just CBN. Because I take home.
My wife, Tara, takes that. My wife takes that.
Oh, does she? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take work home with me. I think a
Yeah,
lot
me
of us
too.
always do. You're sitting there, why isn't this working? And I
Oh,
find
yeah,
this,
I've been known to get up in the middle of the night and go to my computer because my brain is still going so
yes,
fast.
yes. So it definitely has been helping. Maybe I'll try to bring him to Hilton Head. I'm
Yeah,
sure I could get him
yeah.
down there just even for a day, just to meet you guys. So I told him I was going to talk to you guys about it. I didn't know today, but here we are.
So I think with your study, it would be interesting for you to have three groups: a control group that you're not doing anything to, the group that's doing one of your tinctures, and the group that's just doing neurofeedback, and to basically do it for 2-3 months or whatever, do a pre-map and then do a post-map, and see how the maps differ between those three groups. That would be a good study.
You know what? We'll sit there. We'll set up you, I, and Mike, and go over something.
So tell us. You were going to read us a letter. I'd be interested to hear that
I'm
letter.
gonna tear up. So I'm just.
That's all right. That's all right.
So this
We
was
won't-
this was a little boy when I first opened up my second office, maybe 3 years ago. I can't diagnose anyone. Definitely little Asperger's, bullied in class, anxiety, depression, small in stature too. Like I wanted to teach this kid how to box and do jujitsu. Like I felt for him. But when he first came, he would tell me, he goes, I have 40 or 50 bad thoughts a minute. And, he was depressed and everything. So his last day, we knew it was his last day. We knew he was graduating. He was doing great. He leaves me a letter. I left out his last name and said, open approximately after Chris leaves. And look at this. I'm a mush. I need to do something about this menopause I'm going through.
Menopause.
So I will be teary-eyed reading this. So just keep in mind that the girl that works for me, Mariah, does most of the treatments here. People say I put too much goop on the sensors, which I may or may not do on purpose. But he said he made sure to tell me there's something in the back as well. So this is from December 15th, 22. Dear Dr. Will and Miss Mariah, I wanted to tell you something. This Halloween was the worst Halloween ever. Not because of the candy or trick-or-treating, because of my thoughts. Pretty much every day I would cry and cry because of my OCD and anxiety. The main thing that I would get is I would question life. I wouldn't understand how I was living, and I believe in God strongly, but every question I would get, I would feel further and further away from Him. It was so bad, I counted I would get about 40 to 50 thoughts per minute that life isn't real and that I'm in a dream and it's not worth living. And my brain wouldn't turn off. It was so bad. And I mean really bad. Me and my mom were trying everything to get rid of it. Therapy, pills, meditation, but nothing would work. So we tried you guys, and to be honest, I feel that my thoughts were hurting my head. I was scared to go to you, and I fought through it, and I tried. You guys are the angels, and it worked. And I'm so happy now. No more crying, except Dr. Will. No more panic attacks. No more thinking about bad stuff. I truly want you to know how thankful I am. I don't know how I can repay you. Please keep doing what you are doing. God is so proud of all of you. I am so peaceful. Now, thank you. And you have no idea. I went from a scared, sad kid to a happy, peaceful kid. Thank you. Have a Merry Christmas, and may God bless you and watch over you again. Thank you. Like that. Where was that kid headed? Where was he headed? And I ran into his mom a few months ago. I said, how's he doing? She said, great. He's got friends. He's in school. And, I've had this letter, 2.5 years. It sits in my drawer. Because we all have crappy days. I almost cursed. And, where I'm sick of dealing with certain things, and I saved this, and it's it's awesome, and he's one. Like I told you, I get phone calls, I get text messages, but that one right there, I've probably read that letter 100 times, and every time the big wuss of me comes out, but that's all right. That's why I do this.
They're happy tears.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's absolutely amazing.
I don't have any snot coming out of my nose, do I? But that's real. That's incredible.
Yeah. And that's why we do what we do, Will. I mean, we set out on this journey, back in 2010. You were on the journey with me right from the beginning, and Ken, you were right there in 2010. And we realized, over the course of time that the reason we do this is because we're changing lives. We're saving people. We are really saving people. And your story that you just, the letter you just read and the stories you've told today, you can multiply them by thousands. I hear them all week long when I'm doing my mentor calls with our brain core providers. They share these stories, and it's just sometimes I sit back and think to myself, wow, we're just changing lives. It's amazing. Absolutely. It really is amazing.
I think that's one of the reasons why we want to do these podcasts, because we want people to hear these stories.
That's why I jumped on it, because I knew, number one, I'm from the Bronx, so I'm going to talk a lot. But number two, I know how many stories I have. And somebody may see this podcast, just like somebody may see my review about how I helped this kid go back to school. And we're just going to help more people.
Yeah, they're going to hear their story and your story, and hopefully it drives them to go get the help they need.
We have,
because right now, when you think about it, when you think about what you are addressing, right, you're addressing conditions that the medical profession, the only thing they have for that is pills. And pills are they're short-term relief. They don't cure anything. They just manage the problem. So that means when you get diagnosed with one of these conditions, anxiety, depression, what have you, and you go to a medical doctor and they give you a medication for that, you really have to be on that medication all your life, because all you're doing with that medication is you are managing the condition. When you do neurofeedback, you're addressing the root cause. You're addressing the brainwave patterns, and you're changing those brainwave patterns so that the person doesn't have to take that medication anymore. And I know that's a powerful thing to say, but I've seen it happen over and over and over again.
Same here.
And I think neuroplasticity has become kind of a buzzword lately, and people say it because they're selling stuff, but it's a reality that you can learn how to fire new brainwaves to compensate for those ones that are not serving you, not functioning well, and literally change your life.
I love when my patients tell me, I'm off of everything, or my child is off of everything. And the one thing that I do is I make sure that whoever is in charge of their medication knows what I'm doing. I open up the lines of communication, and I say, hey, I don't know if you're for this, we're from two different worlds, but I find more and more people, doctors, are for what I'm doing. And I will say, there's going to come a time when the medication needs to be adjusted. And I can't do that ethically. I had a kid with special needs, and this is the woman I was talking about, the child psychiatrist. He was on Risperidol for outbursts. So we were so many treatments in, and he started having outbursts. And I told his mother, call the doctor and talk to her about lowering Risperidol. The woman did. Outburst stopped. And when the woman eventually came in here for me to help her son, she said, I was very impressed that you had her reach out to me about the medication and didn't tell her what to do. And the fact that you knew where these outbursts were coming from impressed me. And that was awesome that we could work together. And we still are. And we've got this kid, he's at the lowest possible dose at this time. And when I find that pediatricians, medical doctors will work with me, it makes it so much easier.
And yeah. So who benefits, Will, when you work with a medical doctor, when I work with a medical doctor, when Ken works with a medical doctor, who's the beneficiary of that?
Patient.
The patient, every time. That's
why
I never can understand why we don't all work together. Like, why is there such a stigma between professions?
I think
it's ridiculous.
Better.
I think it's getting better too.
A lot.
Definitely getting better. Just from, like, I literally have school counselors coming in here with their kids. Like that right there, you know, social workers.
Yeah. I mean, the only ones that really stand to lose are the pharmaceutical companies.
That's it.
Right.
They like to have, clients for life.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And, if we're helping these patients and clients not need medication.
And I'm not one of those people that just says, oh, you never need medication. I think medication serves its purpose.
Absolutely.
For sure. Please, I hope no one takes me as being one of those people, but it is definitely overused. It's abused in our society. Absolutely. And especially when you have things like neurofeedback that you can use in conjunction with the medication, and over time, maybe the medication dosage goes down and down and down, and then maybe it's gone. Right. But to just put someone on meds and just say, oh, that's what you're going to be doing the rest of your life, but medications.
One thing I have found, with a lot of kids, they will come in and, oh, my son has ADHD. He's on this and he's on a stimulant. And then I do a map and it's anxiety, And I'm like, your child said, I am not allowed to diagnose this. But let me show you my little flip chart here. People with beta dysregulation often suffer from, and now if you're an adult and you have anxiety, they tell you don't have any caffeine, don't drink coffee, don't have a Red Bull. I said the same thing works for a child. If they have anxiety, the last thing they need is a stimulant.
A stimulant, exactly.
What your child is taking right now is a stimulant. They're being... I think the
problem is without a real functional evaluation, they just don't know how to diagnose attention and focus issues, because attention and focus issues can be caused by so many different issues, and it looks the same, but you can't treat them all the same and give them a stimulant if that's not the cause of the focus and attention issues, and that's where the whole thing falls down.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, and I've seen that so many times. It's crazy. But when I opened up, like I said, I opened up this office during COVID because I knew what was going to happen to all of these kids. You're stuck home for so many months and then hybrid, and we just invented and created a bunch of cases of social anxiety.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's good for business, don't get me wrong, but we created it. And now I'm working to help these kids, and I still see it. And what's great is you help one kid in high school that had a hard time going back to school, and guess what? Their friend is coming next.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had that over and over. You help my friend so-and-so, can you help me? And that's awesome. So their kids are starting to talk amongst themselves. Like my son's high school, people know who I am at this point because I've treated a lot of kids there.
It's interesting, when BrainCore providers first open up their office, they're like, well, where am I going to get my patients from? And my thing has always been educate the community, educate the community, educate the community. If you give them proper education, they're going to make the right decision as to what to do. And that's what you do in the beginning. You have to do lectures. You've got to do webinars. You've got to go out and talk to people, and you got to educate them, because you go up to anyone in the street and you ask them what neurofeedback is, they don't know what it is. Right. And so once you educated them, then they start coming in, then you start getting these results. And then after the results, you start getting the referrals. And I'm sure right now you don't have to go out and do lectures anymore. Well, you probably did them in the beginning, but now it's everyone. You're getting referrals from medical doctors. You're getting referrals from psychologists. You're getting referrals from other patients. And that's the evolution of a BrainCore practice.
Yeah, when I opened up here 4.5 years ago, my sign, I'm on a corner lot. So I have You can tell I'm in the country because I'm where Route 82 meets 376. I have a sign up here, a sign here. It says Duchess Brain Core Therapy and Wellness. And I purposely did it that way because if you drive by 3 or 4 times, you're going to say, what the heck is this brain core therapy stuff? And then you Google it and you see what it does. And then I went ahead and changed my sign in Pelham, my original office. It's a McKenna family chiropractor, green and gold like the Irishman that I am. Now that one says Westchester Brain Core Therapy and Wellness. People drive by. What's this brain core therapy? And then once they see it, like, I got that, I got this, my kid has that, I have this. And it happens all the time. How'd you hear about me? I drive by all the time. And that's the way to do it.
Well, man, I am so happy you are doing so well and changing so many people's lives. I mean, it's rewarding for me because, having started Brain Core and grown it with Ken and Russell, it's rewarding for us because we, every story you tell us, we feel like we were part of that.
Absolutely. So 100%. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you guys.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you sharing those stories with us.
Are you joining us at the symposium this year? That's one of the rewarding parts I get out of the symposium.
I will take my CBD, CBG, and CBA and get on. I just went down to Charlotte, and I got on a plane with my buddy. So you guys knew a few years ago on the way back from North Carolina, I walked into a plane and I ran off. I had a panic attack out of nowhere. So I'm with the same guy, and we're flying down to Charlotte. And I take 2 steps in, and I turn around and said, I can't do this. And he said, what? And I said, I got you.
Just joking.
I got you. And I had taken my happy gummies, so to speak, and it just took the edge off. Plus, I made sure I was doing some alpha theta weeks leading up to. I know what I'm doing now, and
use all the tools that you have, right? Use all the tools you have. Do the neurofeedback. Everything. If you need to do a gummy, do a gummy. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. And I went down and because I have a hard time going away on vacation. I really do. It's a caretaker thing. I'm sure you guys understand it. I feel like I'm leaving people.
Soon as my kid was born, first child, I developed a tremendous fear of flying, like an unbelievable fear of flying. Couldn't get on a plane. Did a lot of neurofeedback, overcame it. And then once they turned 18 and turned adults, that fear just, it wasn't there anymore. I guess it's what you
Mariah, come here, Mariah. You got to come on the podcast for 1 second. Come on. Come on,
Mariah.
Come on. Mariah thinks she doesn't look it. She's beautiful. Mariah, Dr. Guy and Dr. Ken.
How are you?
Hi, Mariah.
He's the brains behind the opera. I read them. Were you here when I was reading the letter from Chris?
No.
I cried like a baby.
Oh.
But Mariah, they love her here. She helps everybody.
That's great.
She's really got an understanding of all of this. And when she helps me with the maps, everything. But I just wanted to get you on.
Nice to
meet you. Taking her to the symposium?
Nice to meet you, Mariah.
Take her down to the symposium.
Yeah,
she's got a very jealous Italian boyfriend. He'll never let her go. It's great. We have such a good rapport, her and I here. And the kids love her. I mean,
it's important. It's so important to have a technician.
A lot of the adults love her, especially some of the guys. But she's great.
I want to just kind of shift gears just for a second. We've talked about the clinical benefits of neurofeedback. We've talked about the great success stories and how rewarding it is. But you're also running a business, Will. So can you share a little bit about how neurofeedback has affected your business? Has it helped you grow your chiropractic side?
I would have been out of business if I didn't start doing Brain Core, to be 100% honest. I'm not the guy that wants to see 60 chiropractic patients a day. It's not my thing.
It's hard. It's hard on your body.
It's hard. I'm happy with 30 or 40, but as we know, especially in New York, the insurance game has just gotten worse and worse and worse. And one of the things that interested me in this was the business aspect, of course. And without this, I got 2 offices now. My other office, was beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it was an 18-wheeler coming. Like, I was like, how am I going to do this? And then I started doing BrainCore, and it kept me in business. And I mean that. Without this, I really think I might have had to go be an associate somewhere because, and that's my own fault too. Not whatever you want to say, hustling, not networking or whatever. But I got 4 systems, 4, and they forget that they help people, but they make money. And I'm sure you guys have read Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, and he said, if you are selling something for $1, it should have a use value of like $8, and that's how you become successful. And this, whatever we charge, yeah, man. If a case was say $3,000, but then I've read you that letter, what's that worth? Millions. So that's why this works. It's kept me in business. Shit, I bought a house. I mean, yeah, I had to move out. I couldn't afford to live in Westchester, but it's all right. I love where I live. But it saved my what, like it really did. And
so, a lot of chiropractors don't realize that, and I'm going to talk from a business perspective now, but a lot of chiropractors don't realize that when you first bring BrainCore into your office, you've got a bunch of patients that are already in your office. You're seeing them for back pain, neck pain, headaches, or what have you. And the reality is that I bet you 90% of them also have memory issues, focus and attention issues, anxiety issues, depression issues. And so when you first bring BrainCore into your practice, your chiropractic business, your chiropractic practice is going to feed your BrainCore neurofeedback. And then over time, what happens is you start getting known for neurofeedback, and now you get these neurofeedback patients coming in, and guess what? You convert them to chiropractic patients. And what a lot of chiropractors don't realize is that you can, both of these things work off of one another. It's a two-way street. And you can create a very, very successful business with BrainCore and chiropractic together.
And that's what I was able to do up here.
Mm-hmm.
It really, between all the kids that I treat here, I may treat their siblings with chiropractic. They don't need the BrainCore, but hey,
right.
Dr. Will, do you have time to adjust songs? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Their parents, well, while I'm here, I have massage chairs. I'm smart. I got massage chairs in the waiting room. They sit there, like, man, my back hurts. You want to get adjusted? Sure.
Nice.
And but it feeds, it feeds each other at this point.
Yeah, it's such a natural fit.
It really.
I honestly have a tough time understanding why not every chiropractor was. Why not every chiropractor is not using BrainCore? I have a tough time understanding that.
We are helping so many people, and from a business standpoint, it just works. It makes, we should all have it. I mean, I do. I thought after I bought 3 that I would get the 4th one free. I'm just throwing that out there, just in case I need a 5th one.
Let me ask you one more question.
Sure.
How has the territory protection helped you? So it's just so everyone knows, with BrainCore, when you buy a BrainCore system, we do this zip code protection, we call it. Yep. And what that means is that we're not going to sell another BrainCore system within your zip code. No, do you think that's been beneficial for you?
Absolutely.
You do?
Absolutely. Okay. Because without getting into it, I've had a couple local like therapists or child development places that have literally sent people in here for brain maps, asked me everything about everything. And I knew they were full of it. They weren't here. I actually did maps on them, and then you're trying to go over.
They were just scoping out?
Yeah.
You knew what it was. Yeah.
Scoping me out. And I will say, just so you know, it's zip code protected. I literally have said that up here a half a dozen times in 4.5 years.
Yeah.
I kid you not. That's a true story.
So Ken, you were talking the other day about how the way this comes about a lot of times is you have a brain core system in a territory, right? And then other people, other providers start looking at that and going, wow, I want to do that. I want to do that. And then they call brain core, and we have to tell them, no, we can't sell to you because there's someone there already. So even though brain core is not a franchise, we have that territory protection like a franchise would, that same model.
No, it works. It works. No, I'm an example of it.
And and that's what I loved about it when I first started, because being a chiropractor's every 2 feet, and although we're all friendly, but you're kind of fighting over the same piece of the pie.
Absolutely.
And as a brain core, office, you first of all, you don't have competition around you.
No.
And it's a whole different pie.
Yeah.
So it's just, there's 2 ways to really grow. And the other thing I loved about it was the community we had developed within brain core, because we're not competing with each other. Everybody's really happy to help each other.
Absolutely.
And support each other. Yeah. And that was something as a chiropractor I didn't really, I didn't experience.
You're in competition.
Yeah.
You really are. You're in competition. Not enough people go to the chiropractor. We know that.
Yeah.
So many more people should go. So, but with this, it's open. People's eyes are opening up to neurofeedback.
I always talk about neurofeedback right now being the same place that chiropractic was in the 1970s or 60s. There was a stigma around it. Not everyone knew what it was. What's chiropractic, And I feel like that's where neurofeedback is now. And I think in 10 years, maybe even less than 10 years, neurofeedback is gonna grow into a position like chiropractic has now.
Absolutely. Because
with champions like you out there, how could it not?
Exactly.
I'm trying, man.
Well, you're doing a great job, buddy. You're doing a great job.
I love this. I really do.
All right. Well, I want to take this minute to tell you, Will, how appreciative I am of you coming on this podcast, sharing those stories, helping spread the word about what neurofeedback can do for people is just amazing. And I really appreciate you. And I cherish our friendship that we've had for many years. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you next month.
I'll be down there in a few weeks. My first stop will be the Waffle House right outside the airport. So,
thanks again, buddy. I appreciate it.
All righty, guys.
Good job.
Good to see you. I'll see you in a few weeks. Thanks for having me.